Yeah, I'm Bry. I'm going to talk about something basic today because for the past few months we've been talking about more of intermediate stuff. Alright, let's do this. So I'm Bry. We're not going to talk about the usual stuff. Let's talk about web stuff, but not really web stuff. So it's all about static sites in Ruby. It's just going to be a simple talk. Let's just talk about your options. So yeah, say you want to build a simple site in Ruby and you might think, yeah, let's use Rails. But no, this is 2014, damn it, we're not in the hipster age that we do everything in Rails, even though it's not. It's not 2007 that we do everything in Ruby, do everything in Rails, like some other hipster programming languages do nowadays. So yeah, it's 2014, we've learned our lesson, so we use a proper tool for the job. Rails is a great framework, but it has its pros and its cons. And in terms of building simple sites, say just build your own homepage, you might want to consider something else rather than use Rails. So why not use Rails? First, Rails will give you a lot of stuff that you don't need in your simple site. So if you want just to make, say, a homepage or even just a blog, you're not going to use the entire stack. In a sense, you're not. It's going to waste a lot of resources. And besides, a lot of the things, say you don't want to use Rails, say you want to build a blog and you're considering using WordPress. The thing is, nowadays, a lot of things that you can do in WordPress can be moved to other third-party APIs. Say the commenting system, you don't need a database when you're building a blog, static blog, because you can pass it on to Discuss. Say syntax highlighting, you can pass it on to Gist, or analytics for your visitor tracking and all that. So you don't really need a full stack for certain sites. Another thing is performance. So again, Rails has a lot of stuff that you might need in your dynamic app, but if you're just going to create a homepage, say let's use a homepage. Let's see. I think I have here. Yeah, this is. Let's see if I have So yeah, Bryan Bibat.net, that's my website. Hopefully the net is okay. Yeah. It's just a basic website. This is my website. So this is a static site. If we consider, say, a normal website, a normal Rails application, say I posted this demo for our online programming competition judge in in the same server. Is our online programming competition judging program. So yeah, if you open this, it does a lot of database work. Let's do a simple part which doesn't do a lot of database work. It just retrieves the details about the problem. So I think it's only at most 3 to 4 SQL statements. So we'll run AB. This is your Apache benchmark. Just test 1,000 requests on 20 concurrent users on the same server. It's a different problem, but essentially it's the same. So yeah, it's reasonably fast, given that Linode has upgraded its server recently. So yeah, 114 requests per second. That's pretty much okay for a normal Rails app. So that's for Rails. In this program, we also have this timer that returns the time. It doesn't go through Rails. It goes through rack metal. So it's essentially Sinatra level in terms of processing. So that should be much more. That should be able to process more requests per second. So that's ccdemo./time. So So yeah, it's a lot faster. It's 922 requests per second. So almost an order of magnitude faster. If you're not you're not in the database, you're just returning the current time. Essentially, what you can do in a Sinatra app or even a smaller app. But if you're going to use a static website, say bryanbibat.net, that's hosted at a static website. So yeah, that's 7,000 requests per second. So in terms of performance, you don't, as much as possible, you don't want to hit the server. So yeah, that's one of the things you might want to consider when you're going to build a simple site. In addition, security, since it's not hitting the database, it's not hitting anything, it just hits your server, unless your server is, say, vulnerable with heartbeat or something like that. You won't have any problems. As opposed to say, you built a blog in WordPress 5 years ago and it's still up and you forgot it's still up. I think it's probably been hacked 1,000 times already. Anyway, so yeah, that's the case for static apps. You're just going to build a simple site, doesn't change much. Let's say your portfolio or a simple blog. You might want to consider using a static site. So in Ruby, we have a lot of tools, a bunch of tools, not really a lot, a bunch of tools dealing with sites, building static sites. So we go to our favorite site, Ruby Toolbox, to look at the top static website generators, and at the top of the list is obviously Jekyll. So Jekyll is the most well-known static site generator. So you don't need database, just build stuff in Markdown or Textile and Liquid templates, and just build the app and you can serve it. So I don't have a Jekyll app, but we have a shameless plug in my other non-profit. This was built by Terrence. And this significant other. So this is the website for our ongoing college competition, nationwide competition. So this is in Jekyll. We just look at it later, but the point here is we're just going to look at the source. So yeah, it's just this. This is a Jekyll app, and if you're going to look at the gem file, just Jekyll. Don't even need a gem file, just gem install Jekyll. And as mentioned in the demo, just need to use Jekyll serve. Let's use bundle. So yeah, localhost 4,000. So yeah, this in your localhost, it processes the files, and the files, if we look at it, so say we just look at the index, it's just, no, this is the site, this is the build file, this is not even the full file. So this is the layout. Since it's only one page, I think just put everything in the layout.
Actually.
Yeah, just put everything in the layout, and also you have your JavaScript, JS, and you can put all the JS there. It's the usual site, and when you're done editing, say you already built the app. You have two options. One is you can run bundle exec Jekyll build. And it puts all the compiled files to the site folder. Then you can just put, say, you push this into the full project to Git, put the site folder in git ignore, and once you push your changes, you can just go to the server, build your app on the server, and do a symlink or whatever you do with your Nginx or your Apache configuration to point to that folder and say that that's your static site. And that's it. That's basically it. It's a way to organize your files. So if you look at the JekyllRB.com. So JekyllRB.com, it provides you the list of features in its documentation. So you have your layouts, your templates, you can use variables, and other stuff. So it's essentially the most well-known static site generator around, especially in the Ruby world. So that's that for Jekyll. Pros, it's well known. It's pretty much a standard for site generators, not just for Ruby. It's for everyone else who wants to make their own site generator. It's got a lot of plugins and frameworks, so if it's missing some features you want, or if you say you want to build a blog, just a blog, and you want a framework built on top of Jekyll, you can use Octopress. And I think there are some other similar projects like Octopress. And also, it's automatic. There's some automatic GitHub pages built. So in this case, this page is actually hosted in GitHub. So we just push the changes to Git, and GitHub will detect that it's a Jekyll project, and it will automatically compile the project for you and serve it. So that's the pros for Jekyll. Personally, I haven't really used Jekyll that much. I looked at Jekyll, but it's missing some of the features that I wanted it to have. Essentially because I come from Rails. And there's some features that I missed in Jekyll, at least using Jekyll out of the box. First is it doesn't have bundle exec coffee break, or we all know this as a copy compilation. Jekyll doesn't recompile the assets out of the box. There are plugins, so if you look at the site folder, say JS folder, it's not fingerprinted, it's not concatenated, it's not minified, and whatever you use to do in like sprockets. Also, it doesn't have live reload. So I tried live reload once, and once I use it, I can't go back to building normal sites anymore without live reload. If you haven't tried live reload yet, I'm going to show a simple demo. So your options here is to add the plugins for Jekyll, install plugins for Jekyll, but I didn't do that. I looked at other options apart from Jekyll. So obviously, if you want to look for alternatives, you can just go back to Ruby Toolbox and scroll down and look at the next top. So that is Middleman. So Middleman, this is not as popular, but if you look at middleman.apple.com, it has the magical words asset pipeline. Oh, no, not that.
Yes. But here it's quite accurate.
It has the magical words asset pipeline, which is what we want. And, of course, like you. So, Middleman is essentially the same, similar, very, very similar to Jekyll, apart from that additional features. So, my website, the one I showed earlier, that this is in Middleman right now. So, Middleman, if you look at it, just it has a generator, build a skeleton for you, and this is customized one. So I've modified it already a couple of times. This one. So let's look at the gem file. Yeah, that's Middleman, and I enabled live reload. And if you look at layout. There's the layouts, and there's your index at Hamel. It supports what you usually see in Sprockets. So I think it uses Sprockets for the views. So it's unlike in Jekyll, it uses a different style. This one looks more like what you would expect in a Rails app. So it has the images folder, layouts, and as you can see, it has your favorite helper style sheet link tag. Also the image. No, not the image. I think it. This is I think this is automatic. Let's see what I use for the picture. Sure. So image path. So you got your Sprockets helper, and of course you've got your JavaScript into that. So yeah, it looks more like as you would expect it from a Rails app. And as I mentioned, it has library load. I'm going to show what library load is. So library load, let's start. So it's similar. So instead of middleman server, it is instead of Jekyll serve, it's middleman server, and it's listing at 4, 5, 6, 7. Move this to the same folder so we can see. Save desktop. All those 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I view the source, it adds a couple of JS files. It has a Shockwave Flash if your browser doesn't support WebSockets, and yeah. So this is built-in library load. And the thing with library load is if I change something in the app and I save it, hopefully this wouldn't crash out as you would expect in a demo. Say if I wanted to change something that you can see here, say the about, the A in about. So I delete this and I save this, it will automatically reload my page. So it's automatically reloading, and I'm not sure why it's taking so long. But again, you can expect that for a demo. But as you can see, I didn't do anything, but it automatically reloaded. So yeah, that's the about. And if I undo it, save it, and it's going to go back. I think it's a problem with the CDMJS cloud there. Anyway, so that's one of the things about building simple sites. So you don't want to do reload all over and over again, especially if you've got multiple monitors like I have. I have 3 monitors. So I don't need to alt tab anymore if I am modifying my. So that's the thing about light reload. Don't need to alt tab anymore. And yeah, that's why I need light reload. And the other thing is the asset pipeline. Let's do a demo about the asset pipeline. So what about asset pipeline? So let's change something in my app. So 9. So coincidentally, my first day at work was 10 years ago, June 16, 2004. And Mekong's first day would be May 2004 also. So if I'm going to change this, and I'm going to push changes. Here's so I'm going to push it to my server. Then at my server, so I'm already here at my server. So this is the folder where I put my stuff. So I already built it before, so there's some additional files here. But since I've already pushed this, all I need to do is git pull. Then to precompile the assets, I just need to do bundle exec middleman build. And it will push everything to the folder. I think it's the build folder, I guess? Yeah, build folder. So we're going to see the precompilation. So it's going to compile the assets, fingerprint the assets, and since they are identical, no need to override. The only thing that was overridden was the index of HTML, and yeah, hopefully this is not cached, so you can see that my website is so it's still cached. Hopefully this would appear cached. If not, I might have to do something in the server. But yeah, the point is there's the steps to build the file and do the whole thing. So yeah, that's your alternative middleman apart from Jekyll. So that was the demo. Before we end, I just have to demo another. I just have to give another alternative to middleman and Jekyll, which is what if you want to have more complicated stuff to do, but you don't want to do. It's not as complicated that you would need to use, say, full real stack. So if you just want to build a simple blog, but you don't want to use AutoPress, you want to use Sinatra, you want to try out how to use, say, other ORMs. So your options to build static sites is Sinatra doesn't have asset pipeline. Obviously, it's Sinatra. So you have your options if you want to add the asset pipeline. If you want to add library load, just add rack library load. But for static assets, you can use our favorite open source guy here, the Philippines Powericos asset track. Or I personally use asset pipeline because this is more active and this looks more like Rails like. So just a brief demo what it would look like. So this is so yeah, it's already 10 years. And I just wonder why it took so long to load all these assets. So CD. So this is an HTML5 game I made a couple of weeks back, and I added the Sinatra asset pipeline to test out how to compile assets. So just running this would be to run a usual rack app. It's just so it's 9292 localhost 9292 if you want to look at the gem file. It's just Sinatra with Hamel, and you can use Puma, and I use Uglifier because UV is outdated. And again, as mentioned, you have rack library load. And to look at the game we made, oh yeah, this is just an HTML5 game. Yeah. Anyway, so that's just your site, and if you look at how the views are laid out, so you have your index as Hamel because of the asset pipeline. No, this is more of Sinatra. Sinatra can support Hamel, but for the style sheets and everything else, here you have your style sheet path. It uses the sprocket helpers using the Sinatra asset pipeline. And I think I didn't mention before, so you also see here the the JavaScript task. I didn't mention before in middleman is that you can differentiate between production and development using helpers. So it has a helper method. If it's build, it's production. Development question mark, it checks if it's development. So if it's in build, this analytics would only show up when I build it. Similarly, if you're using Sinatra Asset Pipeline, you're going to use RackN. So if you're going to differentiate between development environment and production environment here, you can just call the RackN. And besides, if you're going to compile this in, say, asset pre-compilation, you're going to use so this would run the app in production, or if you're just going to link it using, say, passenger, it's automatically going to do that. But if you're going to do, say, the pre-compilation, it's just so it's just your usual bundle exec coffee break or bathroom break, wherever you want. So again, it's going to put it in the public folder. And public folder and assets. Your usual pre-compiled assets using the sprockets. And yeah, that's basically it on how you use that. Just have to configure it properly in your app RB. This can be a bit tricky. For instance, you need asset codes. You have to define your asset codes because by default it's going to point to the root. But since my app would be pushed to GitHub pages, I had to look into the source code how to set the prefix, because by default it goes to the root, so I had to set the assets prefix and so on. But essentially, this is just your code, the only code you need, and obviously the handle index, and you can already use your sprocket helpers. Anyway, so that's your options for essentially asset recompilation static sites in Ruby without using Rails. So yeah, thank you for this. Any questions? Getting pizza.
Running late.
Running late. So no questions. So thank you for this. Yay.
Yeah.
They're still here.
Oh yeah, they're still here, so you should stick around.
Go, sir.
I would encourage you guys to stay and get a lot of beer and